listening to the Rude Horror Podcast with your host, Marcus Rude.
Hello, everybody. You're listening to the Rude Horror Podcast. I'm your host, Marcus Rude, and today I have a special guest with me. His name is Matt Arkward from the Funbox Monster Podcast. How are you doing today, Matt?
Hey, I am doing stellar. Thank you for having me on your show.
Hey, no problem. It's kind of like two podcasts combining and making a sonic boom.
Yeah. So I'm thrilled with how your podcast is going. You keep on having like Wyatt Weed and John Massari there. I don't know why you want to slum it with me, but thanks for having me.
Well, no, man. I see you up on Instagram all the time, posting like cool ass pictures of the tapes and your awesome Batman and Robin collection you have going on.
But yeah, it's thrilled to we were talking about this earlier. Great to talk to you in not person, but voice for the first time since we've been trading and Instagramming forever.
Right, yeah. We've sort of known each other for several years, really, and doing movie trades and whatnot.
You still need a copy of Life Force, by the way?
Well, I have the DVD version, but I think I traded my VHS copy a couple years ago.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay, well,
that's a goodie though.
So cool. What are we talking about today?
Well, we kind of made a little list of some comedy horror movies that will be fun to talk about.
Definitely one of my favorite genres.
Yeah, dude, I love this type of genre so much. Like I previously was talking to you about, like I brought up Dead Alive.
Mm-hmm.
And I know it's such a what's the word? Kind of like mainstream pick, but it's definitely one of my favorite movies of all time.
Yeah, it has been for mine too. It's one of those movies for me where I rented that first in high school and fell in love with it and watched it all the damn time, too many times. And then it became one of those movies that I was kind of almost sick of, like because I had seen it so many times. And I'm glad you picked it for this discussion here because I put it in for the first time in probably 10 years. And I fucking loved it. Like I had forgotten, I knew it was crazy and bonkers, but I had forgotten how bonkers and ambitious that movie is.
Right. Yeah. I love the over the top gore and just the nonstop comedy, almost like slapstick comedy.
Mm-hmm.
And even some martial arts in it. I mean, a kung fu priest.
Hi, kick ass for the Lord. Like what? Okay, I'll allow it.
Yeah. It's like what's up?
Putting that movie together. Oh, sorry, we're talking over each other here. You go.
I was gonna say, kind of add on with the priest. Like, the priest was so over the top with all of his lines. Like, during Lionel's mother's funeral, when he was trying to inject the serum into his mom to make her stay dead,
Mm-hmm.
and then like the casket tips over and whatnot, and the priest said something about like an abundance of mother love.
Yes. And I love that Lionel, every time with his mother, always only injects in her nose. Just like this little touch where it's like, come on. But yeah, I just can't even imagine, like, from a logistical standpoint, organizing that movie, especially with the bloodbath lawnmower scene at the end. Like, how do you film that? How do you get that much makeup and people and all in the sets? Like, it's a feat of filmmaking for sure. And you can see why Peter Jackson went on to do bigger and, I don't know, for lack of a better term, better things that people call it. Man, that guy really knew what was going on.
Yeah, he was, I mean, I guess still, like, just a genius filmmaker. And he could work on, like, a really low budget and make, like, he really stretched out the dimes and nickels and into his productions. Like it was just it's crazy to think that the director of Lord of the Rings made some of the best horror films.
Yeah, I love Bad Taste too. But Peter Jackson has kind of a Sam Raimi thing going on for me, where it's like I used to say, this guy used to make good movies. I admittedly have not seen the Lord of the Rings movies. I'm just not interested in that kind of fantasy kind of movie stuff. But after watching Dead Alive, I just wonder, like, if Peter Jackson was to do a horror movie, how would you ramp up from that? What is the next level from that movie? I feel like he's done it,
Yeah, and it well, especially practical effects wise. Like I know he's now moving towards like CGI.
Oh,
So
big
I
time.
don't, but if he could go back to his roots, like that's one of the questions I would love to ask him is like, would you ever go back to horror and make another horror movie? Because he's made Bad Taste, Dead Alive, and The Frighteners.
Oh shit! I slipped on. I forgot about Frighteners. Yeah, I love Frighteners.
Yeah, that one's a really good one. And I don't think that one's rated R though. That might be
No,
PG-13.
nope. That's an Ari.
Oh, it is? Okay.
Yep. God, Jeffrey Combs is so great in that. And but the CG, I'm usually kind of a stickler. I'm not a big fan of the CG, but I feel like it's done great in that movie, especially the Grim Reaper design in Frighteners. I think looks fantastic.
Yeah, oh man, like he really does do a great job at any of the films he works on.
And it's like I've tried over the years. I've tampered down that view that I had. I remember when CG first started becoming really big, I was just hating on it so much, to the point where I wouldn't even watch anything with it. And I'm glad I kind of shut that attitude down, because you shut yourself off from a lot of movies that way.
Yeah, well, I mean, early stages, like in the 90s, and then, for the next 10 years or so, CGI really hasn't been that great. I mean, it's until recent years that we're starting to get more realistic images.
Mm-hmm.
And, we're getting to that era where CGI is getting better, and it's definitely, I guess, enjoyable.
Yeah, and you can definitely make cool CG creatures. I don't know, did you see the movie Underwater yet?
Not yet.
Yeah, that was neat, and that had some cool creatures in it that were all CG, and they look cool and all, but I do still love seeing a practical effects monster. Case in point, imagine the ending of Dead Alive when Lionel's mother comes up from the floor. Imagine if that was just a cartoon instead of that crazy puppet that they made.
Yeah, I don't know if I can't imagine them doing something different besides what they had. I mean, practical effects, and I'm with you.
Like, imagine how different that would feel if, like, you saw that cartoon mom instead of the actual creature. That's what I love so much about the practical effects.
Or like a claymation version of her.
Oh, yeah. Claymation or like that monkey. What if you saw the spider monkey, but it wasn't that cool ass chunky stop motion animation that we saw, but it was all smooth. It wouldn't have the same feeling.
No, and I really like how they use the claymation style.
Yeah.
Sumerian rat monkey.
Yes. Reckon they only found on one island, But but that's another thing. They've been talking about a Beetlejuice sequel for years too, which I don't feel Beetlejuice really needs a sequel. I would like it. I love Beetlejuice, but I would love it if Tim Burton was to make a Beetlejuice sequel, but only use the filmmaking techniques that he had available to him back when he made the first Beetlejuice. I think that would be a neat thing. I don't want to see cartoon sandworms. I love that claymation kind of shit they had going on.
Right, dude. I just love claymation movies in general.
Mm-hmm.
Like it has a certain style, and I think people really appreciate the work that goes into making them.
And that's what I do. I love that craft. I love that sculpting and mask making and the practical effects making. And not to belittle the CG makers now. I mean, I know it's talent, in art, but like, man, I love seeing when people actually build something. And that was for Dead Alive when I revisited that. That was just the striking amount of things and props and half faces and stuff they had to make for that movie is absolutely stunning.
Right, I agree with you, man.
So yeah, that was a super fun one. So I'm super glad that you picked that because, like I said, I used to watch it all the time, but I kind of burnt myself out on it, and it was so great to revisit that movie.
Yeah, it's definitely. Oh, I think it's definitely in my top 5 of all time.
And it just keeps one-upping itself with its craziness. You know what I mean? Just when you think it can't get any more insane, it just brings a different level. Like when the baby rips open the nurse's face and pops out. Like, where the fuck did that come from?
Yeah. Oh man, he must be one twisted individual to be able to come up with those ideas that he had.
And then Boyd, I think his name is Boyd, the zombie from the cemetery there, where he just has the internal organs walking around, and the internal organs have their own character. And it's like, finally, when you think Boyd's dead and toast, he's put himself back together, and he's holding his legs and walking with his torso.
Right.
Oh,
Yeah.
so...
Well, even before he got torn up, like just he had like that 1950s like greaser, like well, I guess him and his gang did. And then pissing on the grave, like hey, you know, like all of a sudden the hand pops up.
Yes.
Grabs his crotch and then drags him down, and then it's just a big blood splatter fest. And
I love too, like
that's how we see.
I was noticing too, like a lot of the times when there was big bloodbaths, you would see the actual like spurts streams where you could tell it was being shot from a tube from something. So sometimes things looked like really fake, but it added to the charm of it, I think. Like I feel it was almost a benefit. Like if you didn't see that kind of fakeness shining through every now and then, it might have just been too bloody and gory to actually sit through. My wife actually had a hard time watching it. She was like, I love it and it's funny, but like, I'm so sick of looking at blood and gore.
Yeah, it's one of those things like I never get tired of watching it, but I can't watch it like back to back to back to back because it really is over the top. And I do still get squeamish at the dinner scene where Lionel's mother's ear drops into the custard.
I haven't had a good custard in years. Oh yeah, definitely that pus that lands in it. And you see that close up of that dude's mouth.
Yeah, it is kind of like a gross scene.
It does make you squeamish. Yeah, it makes you wince.
Yeah, like his line is hilarious, but then when he's just chomping on the ear, it's like, oh,
it's so good. W-L-W-L. And his mother, I love the scene where his mother's getting ready for that dinner. She won't like call it off, you know. She's trying to put the makeup on, and that's the scene that makes me cringe. Is when she's going to put the makeup on and her skin flap falls on her cheek.
Yeah, scratches her face.
Yeah, and it's just hanging there, and so Lionel grabs the glue and starts trying to. Careful, mother, it'll stick on crooked. So good.
Yeah, it's like nothing phases the guy. Like he just accepts what happens.
Oh yeah. What a cool character.
Yeah, it definitely adds to the charm of the movie. Like, and that's one of the things that I like about it. How it doesn't really explain itself. It happens, and the movie just accepts what happens and just keeps going on.
Yep. And the thing with it is, like, you could throw blood at anything. Like, I'm just thrilled at how vibrant and well done the movie is, considering its ridiculous subject matter. Like the streets and the trolley and the music, like everything just looks so good.
Yeah. It
like it's not a blood movie. It's like a legitimately good movie.
Yeah, like and it really gives it like that 1950s vibe.
Mm-hmm.
Like just the trolley and the cars, and I don't know if that's just how Australia or New Zealand was back in the late 80s, early 90s, but it really did kind of feel like
Yeah, I don't know. It almost looked to me like the trolleys were miniatures, but I couldn't tell. Like in one shot, it looked kind of weird, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, it's interesting. And, that's another thing. There really isn't a lot of behind the scenes footage or, like interviews of Dead Alive.
Oh, really?
I mean, I have quite a few copies of Dead Alive. I even have the German DVD release of Brain Dead, and it's got added footage to where I think some of the scenes are extended and little bit extra gore footage,
Yep.
but it really didn't have a lot of like special features.
Yeah,
Been
not a
saying,
big, not a big DVD collector, or special feature watcher for that instance. So it's kind of sad to know that there isn't a lot of background there.
yeah, I mean there was some rumor that Peter Jackson is working on trying to get 4K releases for Dead Alive, Meet the Feebles, and Bad Taste.
Hmm.
And this was maybe a year or so ago, and I haven't really heard much update on it.
Well,
But
that's cool that he's trying to do that too, and not just like disown or forget like he hasn't become too good for those movies now.
right, I mean, I'm sure he realizes that there's such a huge cult following for these films,
Hmm.
and I mean, I for one would be paying for a 4K release just to see all the extra footage and you know,
Oh, definitely.
I, I well, especially for Dead Alive, I try to whatever different releases of it, if I can find it and if it's affordable, I'm
Hmm.
gonna try to go after it.
Nice.
Like I got lucky and uh, uh, found a German copy on VHS from a guy over in Germany on Facebook. He was selling it for like $10,
Well,
like 10 shipped, and I was like, dude, I was like, I need it.
yeah, it was 10 shipped from Germany.
Yeah, I couldn't believe it.
Weird.
I mean, I don't know if maybe he had several copies of it and he just wanted to get rid of them or what, but I was like, dude, and then he's like, yeah, he's like it's yours and whatnot, and I was just like, I just remember just feeling like holy shit, dude, like this guy's awesome. He's gonna sell me a German copy for $10,
Yep, that's awesome, man.
you
Yeah,
know?
the international shipping's a bitch. I know because I've traded with some people for Batman's in Australia and France and Germany, and it's all been 20 or $30 or so to ship something.
Yeah, I don't know if it's different on their end as far as
Hmm.
shipping wise. But like for us, like it costs an arm and a leg to ship something out of the
Oh well.
United States.
Yeah,
But
I know for 3 tapes to Australia, I think it was $36.
oh my god.
But I was happy to do it. I mean, dude had me two Australian Batman and Robins.
Right, right. Well, whenever I get situated with my living space and I dig crap out of my storage unit, I got a couple Batman and Robins for you.
Sweet.
One of them's a sealed copy too. That's got like some uh original like stickers like save $5 on this product.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Right.
So cool, man. Let's move on from Dead Alive. Where are we talking next?
Well, I talked about one of my picks. Let's talk about one of your picks.
So I tried The Outing the other day. Did you ever watch that? I remember telling you not to.
Yeah, that was the one I didn't watch, and I'm glad I
Yep.
didn't.
Yep. So we'll move on from that. I thought I liked it a lot, and it was a neat movie. It had some neat things going for it. But one of my picks that I love that I actually just watched this afternoon again for fun was Flesh Eating Mothers.
Yes, yes, that one was a good one.
You writing me that this movie is bonkers and you had never seen it before.
Yeah, yeah. I just the soundtrack was out there, and then just how corny and cheesy it was in general.
I love that kind of corny cheese. in my movies. Like that's my bread and butter right there. Uh, I know. Did you ever watch USA Up All Night?
I mean, back when I was like really young, I probably watched it when I wasn't supposed to.
Yep. Oh, same here. But yeah, I always call like Flesh Eating Mothers like a USA Up All Night kind of movie. That was like that. I think they actually aired it on USA Up All Night, but it definitely has that spirit to it, where it's just so cheap but so good.
Yeah, it's entertaining for it being like it looks low budget, and it probably was.
Oh, definitely was. And the actors are terrible, but like everybody's just giving it their all, and the heart's in the right place, and it just flows. And I absolutely love the makeup effects for the mothers when they got the weird kind of Joker grins faces.
Yes, I loved that.
That was definitely the standout point for me. And you mentioned the music too. I love whenever they go to Rinaldi in his bedroom, he always has that like cheesy. It's like that electric guitar setting on your keyboard music loop going. Like they kind of simulate heavy metal music with it.
Right.
But yeah, Fleshy Mo, that was great fun.
Yeah, the gore was pretty decent for it. I was a little surprised to see how well done that all that stuff was made.
Yeah, I was actually just looking it up this afternoon, and the guy doing special effects, he had done a couple other things too. Worked with Kevin Yeager Labs there on Chucky, on the first Child's Play. He did some other things I forgot too that were pretty notable, and you could tell like that was the one guy that was going places there on that movie.
Right. Yeah. That I mean, shit. That just the makeup effects alone was kind of why I was like, okay, this movie's okay.
Yep.
Like I can watch this.
It's slow, but it gets the job done. I like it. And I love the cheesy sets too, like and I love the doctor that is the VD specialist doctor, and he's got that poster behind him, famous people who have had VD.
Right. Yeah.
Like that's the kind of fucking cheese that I love so much in my movies.
Right. And then he's like, oh yeah, I know a couple girls, and he gives them like a card, and it's like some hookers.
Yes. Good day, sir. It's so hokey.
Right.
And I love this the first, like, I love it too when that movie starts out and you see that hunter and then you see blood on the snow and then you look at the hunter again and he's missing an arm and he just screams as if he didn't know he was missing an arm. I just love that. That sets the tone for the whole movie straight up, right in the first 5 seconds of it.
Yeah. And I guess like what didn't he say that like it was self-defense or something, like he had to shoot his wife because his wife shot his arm off.
No, it was a bear. He claimed there was a bear attack, and he went to shoot the bear, but accidentally shot his wife. that was his fake story there.
That's almost even worse. Unbelievable.
Yeah. But that movie's nuts, and yeah, love Flesh Eating Mothers. We can't really talk about that as much as Dead Alive, but that's a fun little show.
Yeah, it's like a tear down from Dead Alive.
Yeah, it's a lot of tears down from Dead Alive.
Yeah,
but,
I'm being a little generous.
Yeah, but fun fact about me, I needed a new heating oil delivery service for my house because the one I was going through went out of business. So I looked in, what oil delivery services we had here, and there was a Rinaldi Energy, which, the guy named Rinaldi in the movie. So I was like, shit, I'll call those guys. And it's been the best oil delivery service I could have possibly imagined. And I just picked it randomly because of Flesh Eating Mothers.
That's awesome.
And yeah, Rinaldi's fun. And I always wish there was like this is one of those movies too where you look it up and 90% of the actors in it haven't done anything else. This is like their only credit. Rinaldi being one of them. And I wish we could have had like a Rinaldi spin-off movie. It would have been nice if he had like moved to a different town and something else crazy happened and we just followed the adventures of Rinaldi. I think would have been really fun.
Oh, for sure.
But I also think like it must be neat to be one of those people. Like I was in a movie once. Oh yeah? Like you were in a movie, not just a walk-on role, but you had a full feature-length, presentation in a movie that nobody's ever heard of, and that was your only one movie you've ever made. That must be a neat feeling.
Oh, for sure, man. I would definitely love to be in like one of those like, oh, I don't even know if this is a cult classic, but just like one of those movies that just, horror fans appreciate.
Hmm. And it would be so neat to actually get noticed one day. Like, say you're at the coffee shop and somebody's like, "Hey, were you in Flesh Eating Mothers?"
Yeah,
Why,
that would
yes, I was. You probably don't get that very often. I'm sure Ronaldo gets noticed a lot less than Tom Cruise.
yeah, probably. Well,
Especially go.
oh, sorry. I was looking in one of I mean, sorry if she's listening. She probably would never listen, but the lady that played Joyce Shepard,
Yep.
the she's kind of the uglier girlfriend.
Hmm.
She actually is one of the uh actors that kind of went on to do other stuff. She was in Resident Evil Extinction.
I saw that when I was looking her up today. She's been in a bunch of Broadway stuff too.
Yeah. I mean, I haven't seen pictures of her lately, so I mean, she could be smoking hot. I don't know.
Well, you just called her ugly, and she's probably a big time listener.
Yeah, so I probably lost a viewer right there.
Hi, Joyce, or whatever your name is.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm not gonna say her first name, her real name.
Yeah.
But oh, yeah, Flesh Eating Mothers.
Definitely worth a view. Another fun fact with that. I had that on tape, and I found my copy at a store called Threads of Hope, which is a Catholic Charities thrift store. Which kind of shocked me, like that they wouldn't just throw that away.
Right. That's weird because whenever I go to like Christian thrift stores, sometimes I find some of the best horror movies there, which is shocking. I mean, I lately a lot of the tapes around here are dying slimly because they're slowly pushing
Everywhere.
away from VHS. But when I did find them, like I found like all the Evil Deads, like one,
Yep.
2, and 3, Subspecies, some Hellraisers.
All of those at like the Catholic thrift.
Yeah, at the Catholic thrift stores.
It's awesome. But yeah, it's getting harder and harder to find cool tapes out there.
Yeah, man, it really sucks, and it sucks that possibly pretty soon we're gonna have to resort to eBay
Mhm.
or like Facebook groups and Instagram is gonna be like the only places we're gonna be able to find any.
Yeah, and I mean, I do flourish there. I love being in the Facebook groups and the Instagram and trading and buying. But I guess it gets to a point where it's hard to find stuff that you don't have that much, or basically I've traded everything that I actually want to trade away, and I don't have anything more to trade for something.
Right. That's kind of where I'm at because it's like
Mhm.
it's like, oh man, like I could really use this tape, but I don't really have anything to trade for it because I can't really find anything, and I don't want to trade my good shit that I do want to keep.
Exactly.
So
And then, and then I've been trying to my recent thing is trying to find the very latest of release movies on tapes, like the ones that came out like 2004, 2005. Because like once you get like a certain amount of things, it's hard to like keep going. So it's like I try to make like new goals for myself.
right. Yeah, like I guess my goal is I kind of want to like I don't want to collect like screeners or anything, but I want to try to find like those promo tapes
Yep.
where like Dead Pit and Metamorphosis, like like the ones where you can hit the buttons and the eyes will light up, stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah, I have a copy of Dead Pit that I found that was all broken, and I've been able to fix it to the point where if I connect the circuits with a penny, it'll actually make the eyes light up. But if I don't put something else extra in there, it will not work.
Oh wow.
And the face is all cracked too, so I gotta try to fix that.
Yeah. Well, mine the eyeballs are still there, but like his whole face is pretty much gone.
Yeah, mine too. Yeah, mine's missing in like a Kano from Mortal Kombat, where if you took that big silver plate away, it's the Venus missing face.
That's
Yeah,
hilarious.
those are cool. The gimmick covers are great. I know
Yeah,
exactly what you're Metamorphosis, my video store had that growing up, and I wish I bought that thing when they were going under. Damn it.
right, right. Yeah, I think like the last one I bought was Breeders. It had kind of like that embossed cover,
Oh, yep.
and I found that on Mercari.
Oh, yeah. I've been scoping that too lately.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't bought much from there, but it was just one of those random things where it's like, oh, $7 for like a promo tape. Okay, I'll take it.
Hey, just reminded me. I put an offer in something Mercari, and the guy never got back to me. And it was like, your offer expires in 2 days, and the guy like never wrote back. So I was like, oh, okay. Guess I'm not getting that. Oh well.
Yeah, yeah. So I guess what was my other movie? Talk
Oh,
about Evil Dead 2.
yes. And it's so funny that you picked that because I had actually just put that in like a night or two before we were giving each other our picks, just randomly because I can watch that movie any day.
Yes, yes, that one's a very good one.
That's a movie that like I was saying earlier, in high school. It's another movie in high school too, where I just watched it so many times. But unlike Dead Alive, where I gave that movie a break, like Evil Dead 2, I always put it in like at least once a year.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's funny because it's basically the same exact movie as number one, but this time Sam Raimi actually has a budget,
Mm-hmm.
so he's just able to just go crazy.
Yeah, it's such a weird. I can't think of another movie series that works like that, where it's like, here's part one, here's part two, which is kind of a remake of part one, and here's part three that's completely different.
Yeah. What's really cool, I was watching some of the special features for it,
Mhm.
and we had, uh, some of the guys doing the special effects, like Greg Nicotero, Robert Kurtzman, some of these great special effects artists,
Yeah.
um, come together and worked on this project. And from what they're saying is they pretty much worked for barely nothing. I mean, at the time, I guess they worked for like $400 a week, which,
Mhm.
probably back then was a lot of money, but they were into that project not for the money because they believed in this movie. They loved the first one, and you could really see that show within the movie. Like there was a lot of love put into this movie, and there's so many great special effects moments, and even like the stop motion animation stuff.
Oh, just like bringing it back to Dead Alive again. Yeah, with the big snaky Henrietta snake neck coming out of the door there.
Yeah, yeah, and then even like is it Evil Ed? Is that what they call him in the movie? Where his neck gets really stretchy.
Oh yeah. And his girlfriend dancing outside on the tree too.
Right.
Where she rolls her head down her arm, like that whole animation series.
Oh, I love that scene, like the dance scene.
Yes, yes. She floats off and disappears. It's so eerie.
Yeah, that's great. And it was really cool seeing like Ash's girlfriend when he's in the shed and he's got her head in the vice grip.
Yeah.
And that was actually they built it to where that vice grip was basically where her shoulders were.
Yep.
And she had her head just sticking right there, and that's why that was actually her head in when she was talking.
Yeah, well, yeah.
So it was really cool just to kind of see how they made all of that.
Oh, definitely. And I love that gag too, where he's looking for the chainsaw, and there's just that chalk outline of the chainsaw there. Her headless body just bursting right after that. Oh,
Yeah.
classic.
It was actually that basically was hanging on a broomstick, and the guy was just underneath of it on a skateboard, just kind of pushing that broom up and down and twisting and turning and
I can totally see that now, thinking about that scene in my head.
yeah, it was really funny to see, like, oh my god, that's how they made that. Like,
Yep. It's all it took. Skateboard and a broom. But it's funny because when I was young, I found Army of Darkness at the rental store at the supermarket actually, and I had never seen Evil Dead 1 or 2, so Army of Darkness was my first movie, and it wasn't until my uncle came over with a tape of pre-recorded movies, off HBO or whatnot, that Evil Dead 1 was on that tape. And like I know, like in Army of Darkness, it starts off with like a recap of the other movies, but I kind of thought that wasn't so much a recap of the movies, just like introing that one. So for the longest time, I didn't even know there was a series of 3 movies until that. And it wasn't until that I rented Evil Dead 2 that I'll admit now I haven't watched Army of Darkness or the first Evil Dead in forever. But I will always pop in Evil Dead 2 because I just feel that is a perfect movie.
yeah, it really is like I mean, I wouldn't say a Wizard of Oz, but it's definitely got like just so much wackiness to it and over the top gore and humor.
Mm-hmm.
You just can't help but love it.
No, and I love the scene too so much when everything in the house comes alive and laughs at him.
Yeah.
That desk lamp laughing. Oh, it gets me every time. I just crack the fuck up.
Oh, right, like he's just it's you don't know if that's really what's happening or if that's just him going to a breaking point.
And I love the whole thing that he did with the unseen evil moving through the forest, where you always get that kind of camera going on
Yes.
through the woods. That's like the coolest stylistic. I love it.
Yes.
And I love when it chases him through the house and it breaks through the doors. Like I haven't watched any special features on that either, how they actually plan that out. But damn, it looks so good. He's running through the walls, behind the walls, and the camera's chasing him, shutting the door. The camera breaks through the door.
Well, I guess if you want me to tell you,
Spoil the magic.
spoil the magic.
Yeah.
They use like a long metal pole to where when it goes to like those break scenes where like they're smashing the windows.
Yep.
There's actually like a pole in front of the camera that's busting like the car window and the doorway and the windows to the house.
Yep.
So that sorry to spoil the magic.
Everything's ruined.
It had to be told one day.
Yep. But yeah, Evil Dead 2, man, that's just a perfect movie in my book. Everything clicks. Everything fires on all cylinders in that movie.
I agree 100%, man. Well, on to the next movie. You picked The Granny.
Yes.
And oh my god, I did not know what to expect with that one.
I can't believe you've never seen that.
No, I it's one of those things like I've always seen the cover to.
Yep.
And she, for some reason, I don't know, this might sound weird, but like the look of her on the cover always reminded me of that poodle on the Boneyard.
Like from the woman from the Boneyard, Phyllis Diller there.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
I don't know, like just I don't know. That might be weird, but I don't know. She reminded me of her. And this movie kind of felt like a full moon movie.
It did feel like that in a way.
Like early 90s full moon.
Mm-hmm. It has that spirit that I feel like you couldn't do nowadays. Like it's a time capsule movie to me.
I agree.
Yeah, like you could do that movie today, but it just wouldn't be the same. And I don't even know how to properly explain that, but it's just like I feel like in the 80s and 90s they just did the kookiest movies that maybe it's because all those movies have already been done, that now anything kind of looks derivative. But like, I love that 80s, 90s style B movie. Like the granny fits totally into that mold.
Yeah, most definitely.
Everybody in the family is just a complete character of themselves. Like, and
Yeah.
I love that they put Shannon Worry, the girl that's taking care of the granny. I love it. She's like a stalwart of all the Skinamax movies, like the softcore movies where she's nude all the time. And they just like put a pair of glasses on her and everybody calls her ugly.
And she's like this innocent, sweet lady that would do anything for her granny.
Exactly, yeah. But I just love that they can put like a frumpy dress on like a supermodel and put glasses on her and be like, yep, she's ugly and pathetic.
But then they made that other lady kind of like the cousin or whatever. She was kind of the skank of the family.
Yep. Hitting on her uncle, right?
Yeah, that was weird.
Okay.
Like I didn't know. Like I was like, okay, is that really her uncle? And she's trying to get with her uncle, or what was going on there? But apparently that was the case.
That's the case. I love when Granny wrestles a kid too. And I love that Granny loves wrestling.
Yeah, she loved Sting.
Yes.
I remember she was watching the match of Sting versus Ricky the Dragon Steamboat.
Oh shit, you know your stuff.
Yes. So that was WCW.
Yep.
Which is awesome. I don't know. That's just kind of a little tidbit, but I liked that little nod there.
That it was like an actual real wrestling match she was watching.
Yeah, and I'm surprised that WCW let that happen.
Are they usually sticklers, or I know nothing about wrestling?
Well, I mean, I guess Ted Turner at the time was the owner of WCW, and he, the owner of TNT.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm wondering if that movie was The Granny was ever played on TNT. Do you think it could have been a Joe Bob Briggs Monster Vision?
Possibly. It would definitely fit the mold for something like that.
Right. So I'm thinking like maybe that was kind of like part of the deal. It's like,
Yep.
well, we'll let you in on some of TNT's products if
Yeah, because they probably definitely would have had to pay the rights for it if it wasn't a deal like that. And why would you use your budget for that instead of just filming like a fake wrestling match?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. I might be going down a deep rabbit hole for nothing, but I don't know. It just like, definitely has me thinking like, hey, because I know how a lot of like, especially wrestling, it's like a huge business where nothing's free, or they don't let people just let them use their products for nothing.
Yep.
But
And then what was the dialogue that you shared with me too, that you were the load I should have swallowed?
oh yeah, dude, I actually was like shocked that she said that in the dinner scene.
Great line.
I was like, holy shit! I was like, this was made in like what, mid '90s?
I think early 90s, yeah.
Early
Early
90s. Something like that you never really hear too often during those type of movies.
Yeah, like nowadays it'd be commonplace because there's no morals anymore. We're just throwing everything out in the air. But back they tried to have a little bit more tact back in the day, usually.
Yeah, it was almost like they kind of pushed the boundaries with that kind of dialogue.
Yep. Yeah, the Granny's great fun.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. It was very over the top, especially towards later in the movie, like towards the end, where
the
granny, or like where the granny is just pulling off all these cheesy ass one-liners while she's got that demonic voice.
Yes. I love that style of movie that was like we said, yeah, this was in the 90s, but like there was so much I love that style of movies where there's a supernatural villain like that, like the Freddy Krueger, like the Granny, like Night of the Demons. had Angela, and Prom Night 2 and 3. Have you seen those ones?
I have not.
Oh, like Prom Night 1's like a straight slasher. Then Prom Night 2 and 3 have this prom girl named Mary Lou who is like burned in a fire. She comes back and she's almost like a female Freddy, where she's doing supernatural stunts and cracking jokes and stuff.
Hmm.
I love that style of movie where they just had the crazy practical and makeup effects and just one supernaturally possessed kind of crazy person.
Yeah, that sounds interesting. I'm definitely gonna have to check those out. I think you traded me. It's either part 3 or part 4.
Of Prom Nights?
Yeah, actually, I think it's part 4. We did a trade a while back, and I think part 4 I was one of the tapes I got from you.
Gotcha. Part 4 returns more to like a normal slasher kind of thing.
Mm,
But like part 2 and 3 are the surreal special effects loaded craziness movies.
interesting. I'm definitely have to check those out. I just, there's so much content out there. It's hard to
Oh, yeah.
keep. And I'm one of those dudes like I have to start from the beginning. If I start a franchise, I don't want to start like in the middle of a franchise. I have to go to the beginning and then just watch them all the way up until it's
Yep.
complete.
And well, I like franchises that kind of branch out like that. That's like the Prom Night movies. Like the first one's a kind of standalone. 2 and 3 are both focused on Mary Lou, and then 4 is kind of a standalone again. It's kind of like the whole choose your own adventure concept with the Halloween series.
Right.
Like I love watching like Halloween 1 and 2 back to back, and like considering that like a complete movie. However, if you wanted to do something different, you could watch 1, 2, and H2O, or you can watch like 4, 5, and 6 as their own little trilogy. Like I like doing that with those movies.
Yeah, that's an uh, interesting way to look at it. Because that franchise has has derailed, and most like all the other ones too. I mean, most of the franchises, I don't even know if there's one franchise that sort of sticks true to its series. Like, we got Jason that goes to space, and
I would say Nightmare on Elm Street would be one of the more grounded ones. Just because
yeah,
it was always Freddy. It's not like Jason where there was, imposter Jason in, what was it, part 5?
yes,
They did the imposter, they went to space. Like, Freddy kind of went a little outlandish in New Nightmare, where they were like he's in the real world kind of thing.
yeah, they went meta with that one.
You don't know with that one, but like for the most part, and even I think Freddy pretty much stayed to the game. Child's Play went off the rails too when they went when what's it, Don Mancini, is that his name?
Yes,
Yeah, started directing his own movies, starting with like Bride. I love where Child's Play went in that aspect, but it's like a completely different feeling now when you watch all the Mancini ones compared to like the first 3.
yeah,
But that's another one. You can watch like the first 3 Child's Play movies as like their own kind of trilogy, and then you get into like the spoofy airplane style of the later ones.
right. Yeah, I enjoyed Bride, but Seed, oh my god, I couldn't stand that one.
I like it. Sorry.
Oh my god. Yeah, I don't know. I think it's his voice, the son's voice. It was annoying.
I loved Red Man though in Seed of Chucky. A special spot for him there.
Oh my god, I forgot about him.
Yeah. It's like, this baby's not mine. First thing I did when I moved to Hollywood was got a vasectomy. But yeah, Red Man and John
Fucking
Waters
Red Man.
showing Seed. I love that. And yeah, the kid's voice didn't bother me. I like the whole. I love the whole family unit aspect that Child's Play went to.
Right. Well, like, I guess the whole thing I didn't understand was, why did he have an English accent?
Yeah, it makes no sense.
I think like that's what bothers me the most was, okay,
But then, didn't he have the like made in Japan thing? So he thought he was Japanese.
I guess, but it's like, then why didn't he have like a Japanese accent?
Exactly.
It should have said like "Made in England" or something.
Yes, that would have made sense. But they just
Yes.
chose to go completely bonkers.
Maybe that's what they're going for. It's like, who cares? Let's just go with it.
Let's just have fun. Yeah, and that's why I love Bride of Chucky. I think it's so great, and I think that movie is just they had so much fun with that one.
Oh, I agree. That one really is a lot of fun.
Yep, and that's another movie. Just I'll watch that anytime. That movie always cracks me up.
Oh, for sure, for sure. Let's see, what was my other one? I picked Street Trash.
Yes.
And I when we were coming up with the list, I tried thinking of like, okay, what's some like over the top gore, funny horror films, and that's why like some of my picks, I said they were kind of cliche, but they're so good and they fit this topic. And I feel like
Street Trash fits this topic.
Yes. I was like, you know what? Street Trash is a good one to talk about.
It's a movie that I like it, but there's definitely some things about it that I don't like. And mainly it's just I feel bad for a lot of the people in the movie. Like, yeah, we're focused on homeless people for the majority of the movie. But like I really feel like it gets a little too mean-spirited every now and then.
Yeah, I mean it definitely crosses some boundaries at some points.
I feel bad when he gets the drunk girl and then he brings home, and then everybody goes to town.
Yeah.
That's one scene where I'm just like, ugh, like I really want to love this movie, but like every now and then I'm just like, oh man, I feel so bad for her. And then you find her dead, and it's just like, oh man, really? and then after she's dead, what's his nuts there? R.L. Ryan there goes to town on her too. And it's like, did they only bring this drunk girl to the junkyard and gang rape her just to make this like, can you tell who Steven is who joke?
Yeah, man. Like it was. Yeah. Like there was some scenes where it's like, oh my god, like this is terrible.
It's a button pusher. It's definitely like a trigger movie where it's just like, there's certain scenes that are so like, ugh, it's so gross. But I know that's what they're going for,
Yeah, that I mean that I think was the premise was, let's make this movie just so gross feeling.
Yes.
And like the junkyard owner, because there's this big fat slob and he's trying to get on the one chick.
That whole scene where he's rolling the chair around with her.
Yeah, Wendy was her name.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, he was one of those guys where it's like, man, I do not like that guy. Like, is he gonna die pretty soon, or
can that guy die anytime now? Yeah.
Yeah, like there was a few, even like the main guy, the Vietnam guy.
Yes.
He was kind of like the king of the junkyard, and he definitely was an asshole. It was like, okay, he's got to get it at some point in the movie.
Oh, he does. But yeah, it's another one where it's almost hard to watch for me when he's beating up his girlfriend and stuff like that. That's where the movie, like, to me, like, I feel it gets a little too mean-spirited sometimes.
Yeah.
Great movie. I respect it. Another thing, like, when the guy gets his dick chopped off and it totally turns into the slapstick, like, toss the dick around scene. Like, it's so ridiculous. But at the same time, I'm just like, fuck, this guy's homeless and has, like, nothing, and now he's got his dick cut off? Like, and I'm feeling bad for him chasing his dick around. Just like, they make that ridiculous joke where he's, like, riding the school bus on the way to the hospital afterwards.
Yeah. It's like, you feel so, like you can't go any lower being homeless. Now you've hit like an all time, like as low as you possibly can by having your dick chopped off.
Exactly. So like, as much as it's silly, it's still like it makes me sad sometimes.
Yeah.
I also love when the lead cop, is beating up on one of the mobster guys, in the bathroom. He sticks his finger in his throat and pukes on him. When I was watching that, I was just like, I hope that's that guy's trademark, and he just like pukes on everybody he ever arrests. Like we got somebody coming in booked by John. Oh man, this guy's gonna have puke on him. I just hope that's that cop's trademark.
Like, oh, let's bring in the puke guy for this scene.
Yes. But yeah, what a ridiculous movie. But again, with this movie, just like Dead Alive, it's stunningly well made.
Yeah, it definitely has like we were saying, like the gross feel, and it definitely had like a grimy look to it as far as like how it was filmed.
Mm-hmm. Gross
But
and grimy, but like such great cinematography and camera moves.
yeah, I was surprised when I watched this years ago, but watching it again, I was like, man, like the cinematography was pretty good in this.
I love the opening when they're doing the chase scene where he just keeps on robbing the money, robbing the booze, and running from everybody.
Yeah,
And the camera's following everywhere.
yeah. Well, a funny, I don't know about funny fact, but I got the Blu-ray release of this, and it's got special features in it. But apparently, this was a 10-minute movie, like originally, like as like kind of like Sam Raimi, how he made that short film before Evil Dead was made.
Yep.
So there's like a 10-minute movie of street trash to, probably push to get a bigger distribution and make like a full length.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I watched the short film, and the main actor from the full length is the same character in the short film.
Which
so,
guy?
So like the main bum, like with the long hair and the beard,
Okay. Yep.
that goes in to buy the Viper wine. And so he plays the same exact character in the original 10-minute movie.
Oh, nice.
So I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. And I think the name of the Viper wine was different too. It's like Lightning Hawk or something.
I think it was Thunderbird.
Thunderbird, that was it.
Which actually exists. So probably had to change it for those reasons.
Right. But yeah, I mean, like it still had the over the top, like neon colored grime, like gore to it.
I love what the melting looks like.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's like what sticks out the most. Like the special effects and the gore in this movie are what probably everybody likes about the movie.
It's one of the only good things, really. Like this movie, it's tough to even find a plot for it.
Yeah, it's like we don't really know what's going on. We just know these bums are bums, and if they buy this wine for super cheap, $1 a piece, and they die from drinking it.
Yep, that's it. And then we're gonna add some things where there's a junkyard owner, and there is like a guy who has Vietnam flashbacks, and a puke cop.
Yeah, and the Vietnam guy also has a human femur bone, like Rambo knife.
I love that prop. But yeah, this is definitely the melting with the neon purple and yellow blood splatters and pus and everything like that. It totally makes it.
Yeah, oh, totally. It
reminded me of the only other thing I think of is TerrorVision, which had green blood for some reason.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if you remember that or.
Nah, I'm sorry. I'm like agreeing with you, but I haven't seen Terra Firma yet.
No, not Terra Firma, Terra Vision.
Oh, Terra. Oh, yeah.
You've seen Terra Vision, right?
Yes, I've seen Terror Vision.
Yeah, for some reason the monster in that, when it's killing the grandpa and killing everybody, it's dripping green blood everywhere. They use green blood instead of red in that movie. I don't know why.
Yeah, that's
But
weird.
that's the only other movie I can think of that had the gore that isn't just red blood. And I gotta give props to Street Trash for that because it just looks so cool. It's so vibrant, especially on the Blu-ray of this.
Yeah, no, yeah, it definitely is a standout part that we never really see in any other movies.
Yep.
And I'm surprised that Street Trash wasn't sort of like the blueprint of that style. Like, I'm surprised we haven't seen any more movies that kind of follow that style.
Yeah, but it's kind of hard to write that into your plot. Like, where would you?
It'd have to be like an outer space type thing, like an alien.
Yeah, like you get a virus and it turns your blood yellow. Like, it's hard to. And they didn't even justify it in this movie, but like, it's kind of one of those things. Like, and in Terror Vision, they never just justified it either. Like, why is Grandpa's blood green? Like, they just didn't.
Right. And maybe that's what they need to do. Is like, just don't even explain it. Just make it happen.
Just do it. Make a normal slasher movie, except all the blood's neon green.
Yes, that would be awesome.
That was Did you ever see The Convent?
When was that made?
I don't know. Shit, man. I think late 90s, early 2000s. Had Adrienne Barbeau in it, and there was like a kind of like a Night of the Demons movie where everybody went to this convent to party, if I remember correctly. But they did this cool thing in that where they had everybody, all the zombies, you could see the blood in their veins. So like they all had like neon, and they're all under black light, so they all had like neon yellow and neon green veins going up their arms and face and everything. And that looked really neat.
I'll have to check that one out.
Yeah, The Convent. But I don't think the gore was like that. I think that's just how the zombies looked, or the kind of possessed people looked. But it definitely had that neon vibe going to it.
Yeah, there's just something about that kind of style that, I mean, I don't know. I wouldn't say I'm drawn to it, but I definitely like to watch stuff like that. It definitely has a cool cinematic touch to it.
Yep. But yeah, Street Trash, man. I love how it just never. It'll get serious and then it will just get so goofy on you so fast.
Yeah, it kind of catches you off guard.
And especially at the end where they finally kill the big bad, the Vietnam guy with that pressure tank rocket thing there. And his head's all severed. And then Wendy jumps over and you see him like looking at her upskirt as she jumps over. He's all lovely, but it's just like a severed head on the ground. I love that. Like, and that's in the last minute of your movie. You're still just like bringing the crazy, bringing the ludicrousness all the way to the end.
Yes. I liked those aspects of the movie. It was just the over the top humor to it. Even though it did have some pretty serious tones to it. It's like, oh damn, like that's fucked up.
Mm-hmm. And like the scene, like it makes you laugh, but it makes you sad. Like as I was saying before, like when the guy's in the supermarket and he's loading his pants with chicken and everything. It's hilarious how much chicken he's putting down in his pants, but at the same time, you're just like, man, this guy's got nothing. But
it's like, yeah, just let him have it.
Yeah, when the store clerk stops him, he's like, why is there chicken hanging out? It shows his boot, and there's like drumsticks falling out of the... Oh, shit, that's funny.
So yeah, that's Street Trash.
That's Street Trash, man.
If y'all haven't seen it yet, sorry for spoiling it. We pretty much slaughtered that movie, spoiler wise, but definitely watch it. I mean, even the stuff we didn't talk about, like there's so much stuff in there that it's definitely worth a watch.
It's packed. That movie just keeps trucking. It doesn't slow down at all.
No, not at all. So I mean, yeah, even if for the listeners, even if you've listened to this, you've never seen it, there's so much stuff in there to where you probably forget everything we talked about because there's just so much stuff in that movie.
And I loved. I want to say his name's R.L. Ryan. I called him that earlier. The junkyard owner, the big fat guy there. He was also in Toxic Avenger and Nukem High, and one of my favorite movies, Eat and Run, which is a ridiculous comedy from the '80s. And so I always love that guy popping up in things.
Right, and he was also in Class of Nukem High.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's some actors in here that they're kind of a one and done type thing.
A lot of them are in this movie, just like Flesh Eating Mothers. It's like the only thing they ever did.
Yeah, it's sort of crazy because now a lot of especially Street Trash kind of has a cult following now.
Oh, it definitely has a cult following.
And it's crazy to see that a lot of these people didn't go on to do anything.
Yeah.
But yet people love this.
Again, just like Flesh Eating Mothers, you know what I mean? There's people walking around who started in Street Trash. Nothing else. And for all their life, they're like, yep, I was in this one movie. And that was feeling.
Well, I watched an interview with the lady that played Wendy in Street Trash. Her name's Jan Arakawa, I think I pronounced it. But I guess she never went to do any other movies except for Street Trash. But she ended up marrying somebody that was in the music industry, and she toured a lot with like the Rolling Stones.
Oh, no kidding.
Just because she was with the guy that I don't know, like was like a manager for Rolling Stones or something. Like they're involved with touring with the Rolling Stones a lot.
Yep.
So I was kind of it's like, oh, that's kind of random, but cool at the same time.
Definitely. Yeah, and it's oh shoot, I was trying to think about yeah, the director of Street Trash. I don't think he's made another horror movie since this either.
No, he
a bunch of TV shows and stuff, right?
I haven't really looked to see if he did any TV shows. I guess he did like cinematography for several movies, like Rush Hour 3.
Like, how do you come out the gate this strong and not make like a follow-up?
Yeah, I've always wondered that.
I feel like this is like the Bad Taste. Where's Your Dead Alive?
Yeah, I mean, he probably had some ideas, but he probably could never find someone to actually pick it up.
Yeah. It'd be a hard sell, probably.
Yeah. But I mean, you got to think, if you're going to make something like this, I mean, you definitely have to have more after this.
That's what I would think, but there isn't. And the dude's still working today. Like, yeah, I think he's done, like you said, cinematography on a bunch of things. I think he's directed TV episodes and stuff, but like never anything in his catalog is like this movie.
Yeah.
Which is strange.
Well, if there's any distributors out there, you need to pick up J. Michael Murrow and pick up his ideas for movies, because he definitely has some talent coming up with some crazy shit.
Definitely.
Oh shit.
Well, cool, yeah. Man.
I think that about wraps up the episode with Matt Awkward here, guys.
Those are some fun, ridiculous horror comedies, over-the-top movies y'all should check out.
Most definitely. And that's just like some sprinkles in the sundae, because there's so many over-the-top comedy horror movies out there that we could just go on and on about.
Mm-hmm.
But hope you guys enjoyed this fun-filled episode. And thank you again, Matt, for coming on the show.
Thank you for inviting me.
And where can my listeners go to hear your podcast?
Anywhere podcasts are found. Spotify, Podbean, everything. Just search for the Funbox Monster Podcast. We've been on kind of a little hiatus with the Corona thing going on, but we've done 60 or so episodes, so there's definitely a back catalog of stuff to catch up on.
For sure. Yeah. You guys put on a heck of a good show, and I enjoy listening to your guys' episodes. You and Tristan as a duo make a pretty good team, and I enjoy. It's almost like I'm in the room listening to you guys.
Thanks, dude.
Just talking about Hack-O-Lantern. I enjoyed that one. And that's a movie that doesn't get talked about a lot.
No, I mean it should. It's fun.
Right. Well, yeah, everybody that's listening here will have to go over to the Funbox Monster Podcast and check out your guys' episode of Hack-O-Lantern. And like you said, you guys got like 60 plus episodes.
Yes.
Yeah, it's unreal, man.
Yeah, and hopefully we'll be doing another one soon, remotely, like we're doing with us right now.
For sure. Well, Matt, thanks again for coming on.
Thank you.
And my listeners will have to definitely stick around for the next episode.
Yes. All right, everybody. As I wrap up every Funbox episode, peace.
All right. Peace. Well, that just about wraps up this episode, guys. I just want to thank Matt Awkward for coming on the show and discussing these comedy horrors with me. This was a lot of fun. We will definitely have to do this again, Matt. And you can follow Matt's podcast at Funbox Monster Podcast on Instagram. And their podcast is on all the podcast listening platforms that are out there. I mean, just go to wherever you listen to podcasts, type in Funbox Monster Podcast, and they should pop up. And their Instagram handle is at Funbox Monster Podcast. Go give them a follow. They're hilarious guys, and Matt and Tristan are the ones that run the Funbox Monster Podcast. So go give them a follow and listen to them. They got tons of episodes, like he had mentioned earlier. Awesome guys. I listen to them all the time, and I can't encourage you guys enough to go listen to them and support other horror podcasts as well. Also want to mention Wake Brewing. Wake Brewing is a brewery in Rock Island, Illinois, and is the go-to brewery in the Quad Cities. Check them out at wakebrewing.com to check out their beer selection and to take advantage of their cans to go carry out on Saturdays from noon to 3 p.m. Visit their Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Wake Brewing for more info on how to pre-order cans to go. Also, they have sweet new t-shirts available now. Go to their social media page to find the link on how to order those. And right now, as I'm recording this closing part of the Rude Horror Podcast, I'm drinking their Invisible Orange, and it's a American wheat style beer. And as you can guess, it's a orange wheat beer, and surprisingly, this is pretty good for only 4.7% alcohol. So it's a little low percentage wise, but this is quite tasty. Like it's I'm not like a really big wheat beer drinker, but I thought I would give this one a try, and surprisingly, this was pretty good. And maybe I'm getting some vitamin C in me with this, hopefully, to fend off this nasty shit that's going around. But nonetheless, I mean, they got a ton of beer selection. Go check them out, guys. If you're ever in the Quad Cities, that is definitely the spot to go if you like craft beer. And hopefully this shit'll blow over soon, because they host once a month a horror trivia night, and you can win some cool ass horror prizes. And then I think you can get like a couple $1 off drafts and whatnot. So, dude, it's a no-brainer. If you love craft beer and horror, definitely check them out, guys. And they're also like a metal themed bar, so they got like awesome posters and like pictures of like metal shows, and I think there's like a picture of Lemmy in there and stuff. So they're a very unique and awesome style brewery. I definitely check it out, guys. Can't put them over enough. And also to tie in with the next guest, not next guest, but the next company I want to plug in, Death Stitch Custom Clothing. I met Jason earlier at Wake Brewing to pick up some horror related face masks that they make. So and that's like a perfect thing to talk about right now, with everything going on. If you guys are needing some really cool unique face masks, check out Death Stitch Custom Clothing. They offer 100% handcrafted, handpicked, and painstakingly matched upcycled t-shirt, flannels, bags, as well as other handmade surprises at some of their shows. And like I said, they just started making these face masks, kind of like spooky Halloween themed ones. I just picked up a couple for me and my wife, and they look badass. And definitely check them out. Message them on Facebook or Instagram, or email them at deathstitchcc@gmail.com for more info on how to obtain their products. And their Instagram handle is at Deathstitch Custom Clothing. Check them out, guys. They got some really cool, unique merch, and they have some really cool flannels. I've seen some like really cool like Texas Chainsaw flannels that they've made, and The Thing, like John Carpenter's The Thing. There's a really cool one of those. And the thing about them is they're all unique. They're all handmade, so you're never gonna really get a duplicate. So if you're into like the unique merch style, dude, check them out. They're awesome. And lastly, I wanted to mention Midwest Monster Fest. They're a horror and pop culture convention that's happening September 5th and 6th at the Rust Belt in East Moline. They will be having a horror-themed cosplay contest with prizes, an FX challenge with prizes, horror-themed pin-up contest, and movies to watch both days on these big screens that you can see. It's kind of like a film festival in there as well, so you can see all these indie horror films at Midwest Monster Fest. They're also going to be having like 70 plus booths with celebrities and vendors. Some of the celebrities announced are CJ Graham, Linnea Quigley, Tom Matthews, Tamara Glynn, and much more. And there's even going to be more to be announced that haven't been announced already. So this is just going to be awesome, guys. Definitely check it out. Tickets are on sale now at midwestmonsterfest.com. Also follow them on Facebook and Instagram at Midwest Monster Fest. And at last, I just want to say follow the Root Horror Podcast on Instagram and Facebook at Root Horror Podcast. Or you can email us at this is kind of a tongue twister. At roothorror@gmail.com. Thanks for listening, guys. Hope you enjoyed it. And next episode is going to be a fucking badass interview with special effects artist Nick Benson. He's worked on films such as Society, Bride of Reanimator, Tremors, Night of the Demons, The Blob from 1988. I mean, the list goes on. Like, this was such an incredible interview that I had with him. I hope you guys check it out. And that's about it I got for you guys this episode. Thank you all so much for listening. and stay tuned for the next episode. Peace out, guys.
You have been listening to the Rude Horror Podcast. If you like this content and would like to hear future episodes, please follow or subscribe. If you dare.